Hi guys again! Through this video we are going to talk about some things you should know before coming to Taiwan or before applying for colleges in Taiwan.
Hi. So first we're going to talk about health. So there's quite a bit of pollution here in Taiwan. So if you're from a country that doesn't have a lot of pollution, you might not be accustomed to the air quality here. So there's a lot of pollutants that are very city specific, and they might affect your body in ways that can be really stressful for your body. And it's really important to make sure that once you do come to Taiwan, if you do decide to come here, that you find an allergy specialist doctor so that they can prescribe you the right medications to combat any adverse reactions you might have in Taiwan. So like, for example, I am a sufferer of allergies, and on really windy days, my face will like break out into hives, and Janet has seen when it gets really bad. Like my face gets really red, and I have like little bumps everywhere, or I keep sneezing, or my eyes are really itchy, and sometimes like I'll get hives on my body, and it's purely just because I'm really not used to the city pollution here. So on those days I usually wear a face mask, or I take the medication prescribed by the doctors here in Taiwan. Oh, also, if you suffer from asthma, again, the air quality might not be great for you. So it's important to bring your inhaler, and the NTU clinic here always has refills of the inhaler medicine, so you don't have to worry about that too.
The next thing I need to tell you guys is about the weather. I'm from Korea, which is a country that is not as humid as Taiwan. Which means Taiwan is really humid even in winter. And the summer lasts until November. The last summer was until November, and it was even hot until December. In December it reached up to 27 degrees Celsius, which is very hot for me. And then it rains a lot, and there's a lot of typhoons during summer. So you should always be careful when you go out during the summertime, because typhoon here is so bad that like once I've seen a video that like the house was flooded, and because of the flood, the like refrigerator and everything in the house was like floating away. So you should always be careful not to go out during the typhoon season.
And in the wintertime, it rains nearly every day. So you have to be prepared to always carry an umbrella around with you. And if you're not a fan of rainy weather, then I would reconsider living in a country that rains, like, I would say 80% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing with the rain is it's not a big deal if it rains a lot, but Taiwan, they have a lot of drizzle. What do you like, drizzle?
Yeah, it's called drizzle.
Drizzle. So like when you look from inside, it doesn't look like it's like raining, but when you go outside, it's raining just a bit, like,
and it's really annoying because
really
it's like
annoying.
that every day.
And when we have that kind of rain, we cannot even bike because I don't want to get wet because of the drizzle. So people coming to Taiwan, they should always carry the umbrella because you never know when it's gonna rain.
Yeah, and the weather changes like every day. So like today it might be like really rainy and really cold, and the next day will be like super hot and sunny.
Yeah.
So that can also have poor effect on your health. Like a lot of people get sick during the winter time because the weather fluctuates a lot. So it might take your body some time to adjust to the weather here.
Oh, and although I just said Taiwan is a really hot country, but because a lot of buildings and houses do not have any like heating system, it gets really cold inside. So I recommend people bringing or buying the heating mat, do you call it that?
Yeah,
like heating mat, or some heaters so that they can keep themselves warm.
Yeah, because in the winter time, even though it's not cold, the humidity outside makes it feel extremely cold. Yeah. So as the American on the channel, I grew up in a culture that was extremely different than Asian culture. And when I say Asian culture, I mean like general East Asian culture, which is very, I would say, traditional in the sense that there's a lot of seniority involved in Taiwanese culture. So you have to be really respectful towards your elders, and when you're out in public, it's most polite to be soft-spoken and quiet and not loud and rambunctious like the typical American people. When we're out, we're having fun, we're just having fun, whereas in Taiwan it's not as common to see that among young people, because it's more likely that they were taught that it's more polite to be a little bit more quiet in public. And this is just something that I urge foreigners to be aware of when they come, because whenever you come to a certain country, you should always be respectful towards their customs and culture. And so if you're coming to Taiwan, you should just be aware that in Taiwan, everyone is abiding by the Asian customs, which is to have seniority and to be more respectful out in public.
The next thing is about the food. Taiwanese food are very good. They're very delicious, but some people might feel like this food is kind of exotic. Some people who are very used to eating Western food. And Taiwan's Western food are kind of expensive. So before coming to Taiwan, you should always like do some research what you can eat in this country and what you can drink in this country, because some food that you're used to eat in your home country might be very pricey in Taiwan.
Right. And it's important to know that the Taiwanese like everything to be very sweet. So if you're not used to drinking really sweet things, maybe it will take you a while to get used to, or even the bread here is really sweet. So it's just something different and something to consider when you're coming here. And I recommend that if you're going to be coming here as an international student for 4 years, that you should consider, you know, eating more Asian cuisine so that your body can like adapt more to that kind of palate instead of wherever you're from.
True. Oh, and also one thing about Taiwanese food is it's very oily. They fry a lot of food. What do they also do?
They like stir-fry vegetables, and like most of the things are in oil, which is very common for the Taiwanese diet. And that's just because in the Taiwanese culture, usually people drink tea like when they're eating oily food, so it like cuts the oil. But if you're not used to eating oily food, then that's also something to consider.
But I have never really seen some people who do not like to eat Taiwanese food.
Yeah.
They're mostly very used to eating it and they love it. So
yeah.
I don't think you need to worry about that.
So like I said earlier, I come from a country that doesn't have a lot of public transportation. So when I first came to Taiwan, public transportation was very new for me. I had to learn how to take public transportation and like get comfortable with like standing really close to strangers and like bumping into people like on the metro or on the bus. And it might be really intimidating for some people who don't know how to take public transportation, or they don't know how to get from one place to the other besides taking a taxi, and taxi can become quite pricey after a while. So if you're gonna come to Taiwan, you should also, you know, get familiar with our metro system in Taipei, the bus system, and also the train system.
And there are some things you should keep in mind before using those transportation. First, food is not allowed in any of the transportation. You cannot eat on bus, you can also not eat on the metro, the subway. And one more thing about the public transportation is in the metro station, some Western people might not be used to using the squatting toilet. It's not you sit on it, but you have to squat. So some people might not be used to using that. So just keep in mind and not get shocked.
Yeah, that's a very common toilet here, especially once you leave the city and you want to travel to the countryside. Most of the toilets are going to be like this squatting toilet.
The next thing is about the credit card. One thing that's pretty surprising about Taiwan is not many shops accept credit card.
Taiwan is still a cash-based country, so you will need to always be carrying cash with you. And while many of the shops don't take credit card, some of them do, so you can always ask before you pay for anything. Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
And while we pointed out some of the things that you should consider before coming to Taiwan, don't let them discourage you from coming here, because even though they were a shock to us when we first came, we're still here and we love it. So we also encourage you to try new things and definitely to apply to a university here in Taiwan.
You'll love it.